How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Mixup. It's been a minute, as per usual, but we got a lot of stuff going on, as per usual, so you guys know how it goes. But my name is Turndown for Walt. I am joined by, of course, the ever illustrious co-host of mine, Radar SSBM, and we have a very, very special guest with us, our first ever Pikachu main on the show, Tyler Swift. How are you doing today,
What's
man?
up? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's definitely super cool to have you here. Like Walt said, we've kind of had, I don't think we've had any like truly unique character players, like players that play unique characters. Now that I'm thinking about it, we got like a lot of Falcos and a lot of Marths. I mean, the unique character is sitting across from us in his
Yeah.
Mario playing boots, but
Oh, boy.
beyond that,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
So
I think it should be a pretty fun time. We have a really fun episode planned for you guys this evening. There's a ton of potential topics we can go through, but in the interest of time, we'll probably pick and choose a handful of them and then save some for the next time we have an episode. In addition, we will probably be hosting some level of a call-in later this evening towards the end of the show. So if you guys have any questions for Tyler, for myself, for Radar, for any of us, feel free to hop in to the chat. Oh gosh, full disclosure, I'm streaming on YouTube for the first time. I don't know if chat commands work on this, but I think there was a command that I had set up for how to get involved with the call-in segment. But all you got to do is just join my server, and there should be a section called Ask the Mixup or Call-in that you can look at, and then we'll bring you in through that way.
And there is in the video description a link to his Discord. So if you're not already on the Discord, just kind of look down. It should be in the client, in the links below.
Yeah,
But yeah, with all that out of the way, do we want to jump into probably the first topic, which would be recapping Summit? Unless I cut you off, Walt, is there anything you need to say before then?
No, I think we should definitely talk about that first, especially in present company. So, I mean, Tyler, how was it? Like, because it looks like, I mean, I guess I've never been to one, even as like a spectator or anything. So I guess like tell everyone in the chat kind of what your experience was like as a vote-in, and what the competition was like. Just run us through the whole thing.
Well, so like after I did that like Galint run over the summer, or I beat all those people that were at the previous summit,
Mm-hmm.
everyone was like, "Oh, you should run for summit. You should run for summit." And I definitely wouldn't have unless like everybody was telling me to. And then by the time campaigning started rolling around, that was stressful. Campaigning was like the most stressful thing like I've ever done. It was just like, oh, let me just go and ask all these people for lots of money. That's fun. Go like around, do all these like campaign incentives, all that stuff. Having to plan like an entire like campaign. Like I had a campaign manager. His tag is Yahoo's. He's like a New York City guy,
Yes.
and he like basically ran everything. He helped me like I wouldn't have made it without him like easily. Like that guy helped me a ton. So shout out to him. But yeah, it was just so stressful. Oh my god, it's like an around the clock endeavor. Like I could not stop thinking about it. I could not take off the onesie at all. It was just miserable. And then like I got in and I was just, oh my god, I almost cried. It was like one of the best. It was literally like a dream come true to make it into Summit. And then like the Wednesday I got there, I just walked into the venue and I was just like looking around and I was like, this is like the place I've been watching. Like it's so surreal. Like it's like walking behind like the couches that they're commentating on, and like seeing like, oh, this is like literally behind the scenes. Like it's just crazy. It was so surreal. And then for my run, it was like a lot of foxes, so I was just grinding fox a lot, and that's like one of my favorite matchups, so that was good. But first couple days, like pools, I just played like hella nervous, hella shaky, and then I started listening to music while I played, which I never do.
Halsey.
Yeah, Halsey. I love Halsey. Halsey helped me. And it helped me a lot. It helped my nerves. I was still nervous, obviously. Like I need to enter more tournaments. I got bad tournament nerves. But yeah, I was just like, I got comfortable after a bit. I got to know like a lot of the other top players, which was like crazy to me. It's like these have been people that were like top of the top, like at Summit while I was like going 0-2. So that's like, it's like pretty surreal to just be sitting next to them and like competing with them and then doing well against them. And then yeah, it was just a blast. Like it was just one of the best like weeks of my life. I'm just like so grateful that everybody helped me get there and for all the support I got. I'm just so happy I went.
I think that we're definitely happy that you got in. Obviously, that I was rooting for you as well.
Yeah,
was a
for
little
sure.
bit flaky on some of the stuff I need to follow up on, but you are here now, so that's what matters. I think it's nice hearing kind of the story you're sharing about sort of like it being like a dream come true, because I feel like both Walt and I have had kind of similar experiences lately where we'll go, like Walt is about to like commentate Smash. This is public, right?
Yeah. They actually just tweeted it like 10 minutes ago, I think.
Okay, so Walt is about to commentate Smash World Tour. He's gonna once again, meet a bunch of people. I did Pinnacle a little while ago, and I think in both of those cases, it's like, at least I was feeling kind of the same thing of like, oh damn, like I'm at a dinner with all these people that like, I kind of have watched kind of since 6 years ago. And I can only imagine what Summit is like, where it's like fucking Summit.
It's so like concentrated of like all the top people. When you're at a major, it's like you walk around like, oh, I saw Mango in the bathroom. But it's like when you're there, it's just like, oh yeah, like Leffen, Cody, and Zane are just chilling over there. I could go and like eat with them or whatever. And it's just like it's just so concentrated for all like the big names that it's just like what the fuck. It just feels so weird. It's so surreal that like this is where I am now and like this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions obviously related to the competitive side of it. Full disclosure, so I'm working on a JV5 for this, and I have you plus all of the other vote-ins as one of the top 5, because I think just holistically the people that got voted in all super overperformed in my opinion. So I think like looking kind of like zooming in on your performance specifically, like where were you at in a lot of this? Because I know like the big thing people were talking about, and I know shout outs to Edwin Budding for pointing out that this was the first summit where every single player who got either voted in, attendee, all 16 or however many players there were, have at least one set win, which is really impressive in itself. But the idea that like past summits you could just go 0-2 and that was your run, how did it feel kind of like having that competitive experience where you still got like 5 really good sets, and then you in particular I think were a huge standout in that you took the top 3 seeds or whatever top level seeds all to game 5 with like these insane back and forth sets.
If it was like turbo mode, man. There's a world.
Yeah, I know.
It was. I mean, Cody, I didn't take the game 5. I think if I played as good against Cody, if I played as good against Cody as I did versus Leffen, I think I like very realistically could have won that. I choked a lot of like really simple things, and it wound up being game 4. But like I threw, like I was just super nervous. But yeah, to go through it linearly, like my first match ever at Summit was versus Cody, and that was just intimidating. And like I knew I could have had him, especially because like I think he's like definitely like the worst top Fox against Pikachu. So like playing him was like easier than playing like Leffen and SFAT. So I was like, all right, I got this. And then I started like playing like I played like SFAT and like a ton of friendlies, and like I was doing like super well. I played like all the top players or most of them in friendlies, and I was doing like a lot better than I expected. Especially because like I play like Zane and Moki all the time, and they just like kick my teeth in since they're like so good at the matchup, and it's so difficult. But yeah, against Cody, I think I just choked a lot of like really simple things, and I don't really think I played well versus him at all, which is like the thing, because like everyone's like, oh, you took a game, it was close, but like I don't know, like I just like if you watch like how I normally play, like I just dropped a lot of like really basic things that I don't normally do. So against him, I was just really nervous. Against HBox 2, I was pretty nervous, and he camped the shit out of me. Oh my god, he just hugged that ledge over and over again. He just played so campy, and I just like I couldn't deal with it. I was too nervous to deal with it, and he was just like, there was a point in time where he was just grabbing the edge so much. I just stood center stage and did nothing, and then he just stood there and also did nothing in the corner. And I was like, this is stupid. I hate this.
That's exactly Radar. We talked about that with the Aklo H-Box set.
It's so obnoxious. It's like, but then I was talking to Zane about it, and he's like, yeah, that's what he wants you to do. I was like, oh my god, like he knew, like that's the point. That's the point. Like it was to piss me off, and it did piss me off because it was just, it just felt like more like degenerate than like actual melee, and like that was the point. Like he was like, okay, I'll just play really like lame, and then just camp the shit out of him, and then he'll get annoyed, and then I'll get like some cheesy stuff when he eventually runs in, and yeah, I talked to Zane and Cody about it, and they're like, yep, that's H-Boss.
Oh,
so
man.
I was like, okay, that's why Armada quit. And then I thought about some more. It's like, all right, like next time I play him, like I'll be like a lot more prepared for that. It's like, if you know someone's intentionally trying to tilt you by playing really degenerate, it's a lot easier to just be like, I'm not gonna get tilted by this.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect it to be that bad, you know? And it was just like really frustrating.
Dude, that's like really funny with like me and Radar casted H-Box Aklo for Gallant, and that was like we said it a bit more delicately than that, but it was like, you know, the whole idea of like Aklo, like did you see that set?
Yeah, I actually watched that like the night before and did an analysis on it with Justice.
So it was like Aklo like washed H-Box in the winner's set, and then games 1 and 2 of Grands. Yeah, and then like the thing that we kept pointing out was it was like all the games that Aklo was winning, H-Box was just running into him, and then like when he did the reverse sweep and the 6-0 turnaround, H-Box was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna like not do that anymore and wait for you to run into me. And then I guess I feel like that's kind of similar to how your set went with him then.
Yeah, I think Aklo's not very, I think it's one of his weaker matchups is like Fox Puff, and I think that's like easily my best Fox matchup. So like I was prepared, but not that prepared for that, you know. And Aklo, I feel like he just camps way too hard. Like he doesn't take opportunities to like kill. Like he has like a ton of opportunities, and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna go back to camping. Like, oh, I'm just gonna go back to camping. And you can't really do that like against Puff. You have to like take what you're getting. You know, you have to like still make things happen.
Right.
I think that's like one of his problems. Like even when I played him, one of his problems as a player, he just like he doesn't know like how to really like go in and push that as well as he should. But yeah, the H-Box set was like, I was like mad. I was like, this is so stupid. I don't want to do this ever again. And then the day after that, I had to play Hip, and again, I just choked super hard. I played like really nervous. He played well. I don't want to like discredit anybody, but I played like really nervous and shaky. And I wound up like losing last off game 5. But yeah, I was also pretty upset about that one, since I felt like I was like the favorite for it, like because he doesn't know the matchup obviously, and like Fox are probably my best matchup, that or Marth. So I felt like confident going in, and I just like ran at him in dumb ways. I gave him a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have. There's like the game on Stadium, I like 0-to-deathed him, and then I have his edge guard, and I'm just at 0, and I just ran off the stage and killed myself, and then he just lived at 130 and then killed me again after that. And that was rough. Like stuff like that like really got me. Just like basic like turning nerves stuff really got to me. And then I went outside, I like went for a walk around the block, and I was just like pretty upset about it. But then I went to play Mango, and I was like, all right, I gotta play Mango. And it's like that thing where it's like you're so mad or like you're so pissed off or like emo about how you did in like your previous set that like you just don't even care. And I just played Mango. I was like, I'm just gonna listen to music, whatever. And the music helped, and I was just playing like a lot better, and it didn't feel like it was like that much harder than it should have been. Like it felt a lot more doable than I thought it would be, because I watched him play Axe and he just kind of like washes Axe. But I came like really prepped for Falco too. I played the real thing like twice for like both like 2-hour sessions before I left, and that guy's really good. He's definitely like the best Falco against Pikachu, because he's played his Pikachu named 2 Frames a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he just knows the matchup like super super well. And then I went in to play Mango, and he just wasn't ready for like my different play style. And I kind of just like I just played a lot better, and I was like really happy with that. And then the next day I was like, all right, I got Sora. I was just doing really well in friendlies, so I wasn't too worried about it. And then I wound up 3-0ing him. And then with Leffen, I was like, Cody Leffen, I was like, I need Leffen to win. I do not want to play Leffen. Cody would be like a million times easier. And
Really? Actually, you actually thought Cody would be easier?
oh yeah, yeah.
Why?
Leffen, I just don't think he's good at the matchup. And that's not even like shots at him. He just doesn't really know how like it works. It feels like he's
Interesting.
playing the matchup. It feels like somebody told him a couple good things that were good against Pikachu, and he just does those couple things and tries to treat it like Fox Pikachu is this like unwinnable, or not unwinnable. It's like, oh, this matchup's so bad, like I don't even have to like do much. I'm just gonna do like the same things that like invalidate this character. And I don't really
Sure.
think that's how Pikachu works. Because while there are things that like quote unquote invalidate Pikachu, like say like Puff just platform camping or something, it's not that way with like Fox at all. I think the other mid tiers, it's like Yoshi and like Icy's, there's like pretty set things that you do and don't. And I consider that to be like, okay, those are really good bad characters. But I always say Pikachu is a really bad top tier because he has options to deal with like everything. They're just not strong options.
Sure.
So like,
Actually, yeah, Radar, tell me how you feel about this, because it's interesting to me that you think Cody would be easier for you, because I feel like for the same reasons people thought Cody would be really good against Amsa, he would be really good against you, too.
me, you said Radar.
Well, I want
Yeah,
to hear
I don't
Radar's
know.
thoughts on this
Okay, yeah.
also, but yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think it makes sense that like it would come down to matchup experience, and I do think that like not just Fox players, but like as a Falco player, I do think a lot of Spaceys kind of like get used to like full hop back airing and doing certain things that are just like good Spacey things that you do,
Yeah.
and especially against low tiers, like the kind of stuff that invalidates Mario and Dr. Mario and those kind of characters. Not even calling out
why you
Walt
gotta
with
do
this.
that?
It's just sort of like you get an idea of like, okay, these things are really good. And I think people imagine that at the top level there's going to be like more sophistication, but the sophistication is only there if you've like put in the work to figure it out. Otherwise you're just getting, you're just carried by your fundamentals.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So that kind of
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Like, there were like a couple like things in like game 4 or 3 and 4 versus Cody. Like he hit some like absurd angle underneath stadium, and I could see because it was like underneath the stadium lip, and he just lived, and I was like, cool. And then on Fountain, like I just got up smashed through the platform twice, and I died for it both
Mhm.
times, and that also like really screwed me. And I did choke a few things, but Cody's main problem is that like he doesn't hit the up throw up airs well. He doesn't his neutral's like too linear. He just spams like Nair a lot. And it's like that's obviously like really, really good against Pikachu since Nair stuffs out everything, but it's like his rhythm was a little predictable. And I've like watched tons of his sets versus Axe, so I was like prepared for it. And he doesn't even edge guard. Like Fox does a really good job at edge guarding Pikachu, and he doesn't know how to do it, or he just doesn't go for it, and it's just like you have to. It's like I'm just gonna live for a while. Then like the only ways I died were just raw up smash and neutral, and he just kind of caught me slipping. I would like throw out an F tilt, and then he would just like up smash the F tilt, and I was like, I should F tilt left. So I obviously he was doing good at like calling out my F tilts, but it didn't feel like he was playing the matchup. It was more so he was just like he knew a couple things that were good at it, and then just better player kind of thing. Whereas when I played like Leffen, for example, he had like more specific things that he was doing in the match. Like he hit his up throw up airs a lot better. He mixed up his neutral better. He edge guarded me a lot better. Stuff like that. And I think it's like really easy for people to like just disregard learning the obscure matchups. It's like, oh, I don't gotta worry about this. And then they just figure out like a couple things, and then they beat like Axe, and they're like, oh, I beat Axe, I'm good at the Pikachu matchup. And it's like, well, Are you like, it's like there's more layers to it, I feel. It's not as like clear cut as that.
Hmm.
And I play like really different than Axe. And in particular, I think Axe is like really like his weakest matchup is like Fox. And for me, like it's like my best matchup. But it's like the only matchup I'd say like I'm just clearly better than Axe at. So like I was like ready for a lot of the stuff that like Axe doesn't do well against, but like Cody does well against. So it's like Cody is really good against like Axe's play style more so than he does
Sure.
against like the carrot. Like Axe will just
So
run in and nair a lot, and then Axe just gets reversaled and like full hopped, and like he'll just run in and then it's just not very strong. Whereas I'm more like defensive and I'm like a lot more cognizant of like playing around CC and not getting reversaled and stuff.
just a question. So, you mentioned how you play very differently from Axe, and you're not the first person to say that. I would agree with that.
Hmm.
But can you kind of articulate a bit, like, what do you feel sort of separates kind of Axe's like flavor of Pikachu and the kind of the Tyler Swift sort of variation? Like, what is it? If you kind of could sum up the playstyle differences, what
Hmm.
would that look like?
I
Also,
think you
I
had
just
to.
want to add real quick
Oh,
before you answer that. People in chat, you're welcome to like talk also if you have like thoughts on this, because like I'm about to drop like a very controversial question and just like after he's done with this, so I want to hear your thoughts on this. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So I think the best way to compare it is it's like if you look at like foxes, let's say, like you can compare like Axe to like say like Mango's fox and like my fox to more so like Leffen's fox. Like because it's Axe like Axe and Mango when they play their characters, it feels more so like they're just playing the player. They're doing a lot of like obscure niche things, and that's just how they play the game. And they're just really good melee players. Whereas like Leffen and I feel like we're like a lot more like labbed out. We see like a lot more like specific like flowcharty situations and like what to do where, and like oh, like I've labbed this out in Uncle Punch for 6 hours. I'm gonna do it in tournament. Whereas like Axe is more so like he's just always trying to go for something like different. And I think like I think it's the biggest one is it's like I think in terms of like melee, I consider it like Axe is like the better player by far, but like I'm the better like Pikachu. And I don't want that to sound like arrogant or anything, but
No,
like I
no, that
think
makes
that's
sense.
yeah, like I think that's like how it is. And even Axe is like, yeah, I played more optimal than him. So yeah.
I think it's interesting,
Um,
and I this is kind of like the half controversy part that I want to get into on it, without like really getting a lot of people angry over this, but because I interviewed Axe back in 2018, and I want to say he brought you up as like another Pikachu player that was like on the cusp. You know what I mean? Like there were you, there was OKP, and there was oh shoot, Clefaikish.
Kimchi? A Clash?
Yeah. Like, and I think Kimchi was also on that list of players because I asked him, like, what other Pikachus are out there, blah, blah, blah. And then, similarly to that, I asked about, like, kind of the untapped potential that the character has. And he talked about, the momentum cancels and, like, all the quick attack ledge cancels that you can do. I saw you posted the clip with the downer platform warp and things like
Yeah.
that, which like are insane, and people don't know that shit, which is like what makes it really cool for a character that's largely underdeveloped, I think, or undiscovered, to like bring this stuff out and show that like, yeah, it's not just like Axe is the only one out there that can do it. Like you're clearly very optimized or getting to a level where like you can do all these crazy like lab things that you talked about. Um, do you think that, and I guess the first part of this question is, have you always been a box player? And do you think that by virtue of being a box player, some of these Pikachu specific techs are easier? Because like I don't see Axe going for like the quick attack momentum cancels like really all that often. And I know that was something he said he wanted to work on, but I don't know like where he's at with that, and I don't know if it's easier on a GameCube controller or what have you.
So for like box versus controller stuff, I think one of the big things is like I could do a lot of like really quick short hop up airs
Mm-hmm.
and they auto cancel a lot. So
Release your camera.
it's what's it called? The short up airs are like easier on box just because like I could claw it. Like it's not that much more difficult on controller, but it's like more awkward. Like you gotta like short hop and then like immediately flick up on the C stick. It's just like weird.
Hmm.
So it's understandable why it'd be harder. I do think though that like it's just objectively better to short hop up air because Axe will do like full hop up air and then he'll like land with a nair like another up air and then that's just his combo. But if you do the short hop up air, you can get like up smash off of it. You can get like a grab off of it. You can do like a lot more. So that's like one small optimization. The momentum cancel stuff, it's like, so since I have like a button to press up, it's like easier in that sense.
Right.
But at the same time, aiming the up B in
Yeah.
like that reaction time in like that niche is definitely a lot easier on the controller. So it's like that's like the give and take for that specific one. But what was it? Another thing is like DIing Fox up their up air. Not even so much like the SDI like a little bit, but like the main thing that like made me SDI all of the up their up air stuff was more so like me hitting like the 1.0 cardinal DI left and right on Fox's up throw because he just goes in this like really it's just hard to hit. It's a lot harder to hit, whereas Axe doesn't get like the full 1.0, so it's like easier to drift into it with the up air. And box, since you have a button for up, it's really easy to just spam tap jump.
Okay.
And that just lets you jump out a lot easier, which is like another reason why it's harder to like get up throw follow-ups. Like even up throw back air is like really hard to hit on me, like partly, mostly because of the box.
Sure.
And the edge cancel stuff is like that's definitely like a box thing. You could do it on controller, but like in order for it to be consistent, you'd need notches, and then if you want to get notches, you'd need 3 different notches on each side of the controller for each platform height, like one for Dreamland, one for Stadium / Yoshi's, and then like one for Battlefield.
Damn.
So like the box just has like set angles for that, so like I could just kind of do it on a whim.
Okay. Damn, that's crazy.
How long have you been playing on the box?
Oh yeah, and for that, I got my box like October of last year. I just like my hands are terrible. Like I just shove them in like buckets of ice every day, just so that they like heal and stuff. It takes a lot, and especially like with Pikachu, like he's a pretty like technical character, especially the way like I play. It's like you gotta press a lot of buttons. There's a lot of like movement on like the left hand, so like for example, do like the up B stuff. Like if I just practice my up Bs like a lot, like I'm going like up down, and like up like back and in. And it's just like messes up your hands, and like my hands just weren't good to begin with. So I was like, all right, like I can't play for more than like 2 hours a day, and like I can't get like to where I want to be in terms of goals if I'm playing for that little. So like I kind of just had to switch.
Makes sense. One other thing I was curious about, because you did kind of mention like playing with the real thing, is sort of the preparation you had ahead of Summit. Like once you knew you were getting in, and even I guess kind of as you were campaigning, like what kind of stuff did you do to prepare for kind of the bracket? What kind of things, what kind of characters were you targeting? It sounds like Falco was a matchup you're working on. Obviously, you play a lot with Moki and Zane, so those are something that you are more familiar with. But I'm just curious about the preparation.
The biggest one was it was mostly Fox. The thing is too is it's like I got into Summit and I was like, yay! And then that same week I had 2 exams on Friday. So like I couldn't even like prepare that much. I just had to like not do anything melee related for like those 2 or 3 days just because I had like 2 big exams in like difficult classes. So like I just couldn't prepare. And then right after that I was like, all right, I got like what, like 4 days until I leave. So I just played Moki like a bit. And Moki's like a good friend of mine. He always is like trying to help me out. His mentality is like I've helped him with Axe a lot, so he's like I want to help you with like whenever you have a tournament, which is like super nice of him. And I played TRT, I played Moki, I played Faust for a bit too. He's a close friend of mine. Warm up for HBox. It was mostly like those 3. Like while I was campaigning, I actually like didn't grind super much because I was just also like really busy. And like I was just doing all this campaigning stuff too. So like I didn't really have like the time to just like sit down and just like practice. I was like, oh, I have to stream, I have to be entertaining, I have to do this and this and this, and like everything for like the campaign. And that's kind of like all I was like really doing. So like I didn't really get much time to prepare for it, or nearly as much as I would have wanted to. Which in like a way, it's like, oh, it's not that bad because I do have like a problem. Like for Riptide, like I over prepared way too much, and then I got super burnt out, and that was like the worst performance of like my life. Like it's like the worst like I've ever played, and I was like super super down on myself for that. But yeah, I think it was like a little bit short of a time, but wasn't like too bad. I still had like the couple days at the venue to play with people. Like I played SFAT for a bit. I played him like he's the only one I actually played like in 2 different hour-long friendly sessions. I played Mango, I played Leffen in friendlies, played Sora in a bunch of friendlies, Null, played Kador in a bit. I played Amsa for like 2 hours. Yeah, it's just like mostly that stuff. And I was like it's also hard while you're there to be like, for me personally too, because I kind of burn out kind of easily. It was hard for me to like gauge like, okay, should I be grinding now or should I be like relaxing for the tournament? So it was like definitely like a give and take there. But the way I like really look at tournaments is it's like I've been prepping for tournaments my entire Melee career, you know? It's like I've just been playing Melee and practicing and working on my matchups and like everything while I've been a Melee player. So like I don't really see like the prep as like that big a deal because all the work's been done already. You know, it's like I've been preparing for as long as I've been playing Melee, you know, like I've been getting better and better at like everything. So that's kind of why I don't get too worried about like preparing for a specific tournament. But yeah, it's like it was definitely like I was definitely wish I had a little bit more time, but it wasn't the worst. And then one more thing, my friend Justice came with me, and we just did analysis on like Axe versus Cody, and then we did like analysis on like HBox's set versus Aklo, and we just like took a bunch of notes on that. I got prepped for that, but other than that, like those are the only 2 specific players I prepped for.
Just out of curiosity, what do you study at school?
Computer science.
Hey,
Nice.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's
Never
like,
heard of a Melee player that studies computer science. That's so uncommon, man.
It's just brutal. It's like my worst semester. It's like I had like my abstract algebra final today, and that didn't go too well.
Hey man.
And I have like cryptography on Tuesday, and then like number theory on Monday, and they're all. I'm like a senior too, so it's like all the upper level stuff is like catching up with me. So it's just painful.
Hey, as an engineer, man, the good thing is you just fail all your finals and everything's fine. They just
curve it up.
Yeah,
give me a curve.
Yeah, so don't worry about it, man. You're good.
Yeah.
It's actually insane that like I have been out of school for 6 years now, and I still sometimes will like think about exams or think about like it just never totally leaves you. So
I 6 years for you. Wait, oh, you're older than me. Shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm 28. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So no, actually, I guess I also did a post grad. So.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm glad school is behind me, and hearing other people talk about exams, even the idea of campaigning for Summit and then doing exams is like it's very.
That was like I've known I was campaigning for Summit for like a while. Like since the start of the semester, I knew like I'm gonna campaign for Summit, and it's gonna be around finals week. So I've been like mentally preparing for this like month-long period for so long, and it's here, and I've just been so busy, especially coming from like the pandemic where it's like, oh, I'm just doing nothing. I just play Melee for like 6 hours and just chilling, you know. And now it's just like, all right, I gotta campaign, I gotta study, I gotta practice, I gotta do like everything, and it's a lot. It was a lot.
I feel like that's such an interesting like position because being in college and going to events was such a unique opportunity that I felt like I never took advantage of when I was in school, where I was like, damn, I could have gone anywhere. Like I could have gone to any of these locals, I could have gone to all these majors or regionals or whatever, and like just not give a shit about school. And I just didn't do that ever. I don't know. Was that? Did you do that? Did you go to a lot of stuff, Radar, when you were back in university or anything? Or
I definitely went to like every tournament in Ontario that was big. Like that was probably the most Melee I played was in school. There was a couple weeklies. Like I don't know about everyone's Melee experience, but I think it's pretty common that like, there's like a weekly at some guy's house, and like
yeah,
in university it would be like there were like three of those. So I kind of went to like all of them, and then also did like the things like the regionals, but then and then like by like 2017 I would go to a tournament like once every 5 months. So like,
dude.
there's a
Okay,
variance there.
the way that it worked for me. So like I was in South Carolina for school. This is actually like unlocking so many memories. Shout outs to the South Carolina Smash scene. I know some of my guys are still out at events and everything. It's great to see them. The way that I found the like local scene felt like I was operating in the black market. It was the weirdest shit ever. I remember I was friends with a guy at USC, and he found, and it's like you think about it now and it's like imagine how fucking sketchy it was back in like 2004 when people were like, "Oh yeah, I just talked to this guy on a forum. Everything's totally fine. I'm gonna fly out to California. Don't even worry about it." But I remember my friend was like, "Yeah, I found this guy on like Facebook, or like it was like something sketchy, either like Facebook or Craigslist or something absurd." And he was like, "Yeah, let's just like drive out to like Lexington or whatever," which was like 45 minutes to an hour away. We were like, "All right, cool." And I remember me and my buddy show up at this guy's like neighborhood, and this guy walks out, and we're both like flanking my car, like ready to go back in my car if shit hits the fan. And just like across this guy's lawn, my friend just goes, "You Atlas?" And he was like, "Yeah." And we were like, "All right, cool." We just walk into this guy's house. We're like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, that's some like insane like smasher only
Yeah,
type
like
shit.
no one normal would like, none of his neighbors would ever think of that interaction and just be like, "Okay, well he just used a code name for this guy in this front lawn." And the guy was like, "Yeah," and they walked in, "He's selling drugs." That's basically all there is to it. But it's just like it's so crazy, and I feel like that's a uniquely like cool thing about Melee, where it's like everyone's nice about it at
Yeah.
least, and it's not like
I
weird
feel
in
like
any way.
I feel like it's kind of dying though a bit. Like for everything that's amazing about Slippy, and I would never want to undo the convenience of Slippy. I do remember when I first started playing Smash, it was like if you want to play Smash, you like have to physically be beside the person. So you would literally like take a bus to some guy's house and be like,
Yeah,
"Hello,
it's
some guy,"
bizarre.
and then you play with
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
and like you just sort of get used to that, and you'd be at the house, and there'd be like a 13-year-old beside you, and you'd think like,
Dude,
whatever, dude, and that
oh
13-year-old would be so sick at it, and you're like, fuck.
I
So
met Logan when he was 13,
there you
and he
go.
and his tag was Android 13 because he was
That's
13 years old. And
That's
you know
hilarious.
what? He still waxed my ass. And I was like 20, dude, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like this guy is so fucking young and he's beating my ass. Like this is terrible." It's like embarrassing when you get to a point. But I mean, like Logan's amazing, obviously, but I was just like, "Damn, it is so crazy, like the diversity that you get from it." And I think like, yeah, back in our day, me and Radar, when we were youths of the world, we were taking buses and public transit to people's houses, and it was really sketchy. So
Yeah,
With
like
that, oh no, go ahead.
like my side of that is for me it was like I started playing when I was like in high school, but I was never like really a part of the scene because in Long Island like they didn't like Pikachu. So I definitely got rooted against a lot when I was like first starting, and definitely made me like really uncomfortable when like a drunk guy just screaming behind me, and I'm like 16 and I'm just beating his friend, and it's just he was just yelling at me, and I was like, "Oh, okay," and I just
yeah,
didn't go to events. And then I started going to school at the University of Maryland, and I was like, I have no friends. I'm not from Maryland. I'll just join the Smash Club. And at that point, I hadn't played Melee in like a year or so. I just stopped playing. I was like, I'll just do this to make some friends, and then I'll like make friends in somewhere else. And then I got second at like the club fest, which is like pretty good. And I got wobbled in grand finals. And then they're like, "Yeah, you should come out. Like, we're having a tournament on campus. It's gonna be like a regional where like all the good players are gonna be there." And I like saw like I went and I saw like Zane and Junebug for the first time. I was like, "Oh my god, this is what a real tournament's like." And I wound up like beating like a lot of like good regional players. I beat Fendrick Lamar, and then he salty tweeted. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, and then like one thing led to another. I just started like going everywhere. Like after that, like a week after, they're like, "Hey, are you gonna be at Whorehouse?" I was like, "What? Like Whorehouse? That's Jorge's tournament house." I was like, "Oh, okay."
I hate that I immediately knew that it was gonna be related to Star Fox freshman. But
yeah,
like,
Jorge the Golden Guardians guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just went to his house, and then there was just all like the people there. Like half of them were just drunk. Like I went and I did like okay, and then after that, like it was still like delay based net play, and like I don't have the best internet here, so like I would just go to like Mog's house, and me and Mog are good friends, and if you know Mog, he's a crazy guy. So it's like little old me from like just like where like random ass Long Island, and I just like meeting this like dude Mog. If you just know who Mog is, it's just insane. I guess it's insane. So like I would just go to his house. We would just get fucked up, and we would just play like tons of melee. He would spam down smash, and I'd be like, "I'm getting better at melee, woo!" And then yeah, that's what I did. I just take train to Mog's house. I'd go to Cypher Phoenix's house too, and that's how I would like grind. And then Slippy came out, and like I don't gotta leave my house anymore. Cool.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad. I think with that, it's probably a good time to transition into either the Smash World Tour pool preview, or kind of up to you, Walt. What are you feeling like we should hit first?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say about the Panda controller. I don't know if we wanted to talk about.
I think we can do that like a different episode, or like when it comes out. I think just in the interest of time, since we're already like an hour in, like maybe we try to keep it like 2 hours or less.
Yeah.
So
I do want to say though, because I pulled up the Kickstarter again just to look at it, and someone like tweeted to me when we hit the $1 million on our Kickstarter, and they were like, "Oh, like Walt, you're working on the documentary for the controller," and I was like, "The what?" And they were like, "Oh, like there's a documentary coming out because you hit $1 million on the Kickstarter," and I was like, "Yeah, no one told me about that." So
fun way to learn about that.
We'll see if that comes up. Yeah, let's talk about. You wanted to talk about Smash World Tour. What was the other thing?
Smash World Tour, and then like there's a bunch of topics we have. I think like giving a top 10 list could be fun. I think talking about like kind of Yoshi and Pikachu's place in the meta could be fun. Of course, chat can kind of let us know what specifically they'd like to hear. I think we should probably start with Smash World Tour just because it's the most timely, and because I think the group itself should be interesting. So
yeah, for sure. Let's take a look. I'm gonna just drop it in chat for people who want to check it out, but they did just release the pools for Smash World Tour. For those of you unacquainted, it's going down tomorrow to Sunday over in Orlando, Florida. It's super dope the way that they had it set up. There were just so many different like qualifying events. I actually casted a lot of these. Like I did the Central America qualifier, the West Coast, the East Coast, and I think one other. But there's so much talent here, and so many like there's a lot of names that people probably don't know if you pull up this list here. And it's like we look at who is this? We have like Far, who like crushed it in Central America and everything, but then there's like Australians, you know, people are excited about Sora after Smash Summit. We have Sock, who's a great player as well. Ja Raiden, the Luigi player, is like there's just so many like unique people here that I think it's going to be really exciting. And I'm also commentating it, so that's going to be really fun too.
Is there a way we could like pull it up on the stream, or is that going to be
I'll put it up over my camera for now. I don't think I have the live overlay. So let's
I'm definitely looking forward to like watching it. I was looking at the pools, and it's like, you know, there's no Zane, no Mango, no Cody. It's like a lot of the other really good players are still going to be there, and there are players like who are going to be trying to qualify through the last chance qualifier, and I'm just excited to see like Axe is going. I'm obviously #1 Axe fan, but yeah, like I'm just excited to see like those players too. Like there's a lot of like hidden names. Like I can't really think of any off the top of my head. Like I think Crudo is gonna be doing the last chance qualifier. He's from Florida. He could like easily make it in, and yeah, there's like 8 spots up for grabs.
Yeah, the last chance qualifier is something I find quite interesting, and it's like I don't know what you guys think about that. Where it's like, how do you feel about people just being able to like show up to that and then be like, yeah, I can just do it. It's fine.
I don't know. I think it makes sense if it kind of needs to for the tournament. I'm just trying to see how visible this image is on YouTube. It might be
kind of small, yeah. I'm just throwing it on
like
here.
we could make it bigger if we want to put it like kind of blocking both of our faces for a bit. I don't know, like whatever's kind of easiest. I mean, you can kind of still see if you full screen. So if you're not on like a phone or something, but we can go through the groups and read it out as well. Like it, that's fine. And I think the main thing I want to kind of hear from everybody is like basically the way it works is the winner advances, like #1 advances to winner side, 2 advances to loser side. So kind of who we think is getting out in winners, who we think is getting out in losers. And then also a really common thing with like a lot of esportsy type things is like, what is the group of death? Like what is like the strongest group? Yeah. Because there's a couple that I think maybe like might be surprisingly difficult, but I'm curious to see what people think. So Group A is Wizrobe as the first seed, Frenzy, who is a Falco player, I believe, Aura, HP, and then whoever comes in the losers last chance qualifier. So this one feels not that hard to call on my end, but I want to hear what you guys think first.
Yeah, interestingly enough, HP I believe HP is a Yoshi player. And that's Chile, right?
This is not.
I'm not good at flags. Yeah, he's from Chile. So, but yeah, yes, Yoshi, Dr. Mario, maybe or like Fox, and then maybe vaguely Dr. Mario as well. Apparently, yeah, plays like all of them. I guess just based on that history. But yeah, I mean, this one seems like pretty firmly Wizrobe's pool to take, in my opinion. I'd be pretty surprised if there's an upset here for that, and it's like, obviously no disrespect to any of the other players here, but the one that I would think like could maybe take Wizzy a little bit further would be like Aura, but I just feel like he has that pool on lock personally.
I think Frenzy's quite good, but
yeah, he is.
I feel like I just don't see how Wizzy doesn't take this cleanly.
Yeah.
I think it's like when you like, and again, like the reason I didn't bring up Frenzy in that running for it is like when you consider the fact that Wizzy has taken Mango to game 5 now, and like all of these things, which seem to be like a disaster matchup for him, and now he's like suddenly got a grasp on it, or at least a disaster player for Wizrobe. It's like, yeah, I feel like his Falco days are behind him now of like struggling in that matchup. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think Wizzy and Frenzy are probably easily first and second seed. I could maybe see Frenzy and Aura being swapped in terms of like seed position, but it's so granular at that point,
Well, do you mind making it like maybe we'll have it a bit bigger so it kind of goes over like Dan's camera on like the left hand side? Just because I'm full screening and I can't really see it even still. Yeah, that's probably better. Like, thanks. Cool. I just want to make sure that people, if they are watching on like a video, can kind of see. Obviously, we don't have that much space, but what are we gonna say?
I'll do you one better. Don't worry. We're gonna just do it by group. And I'll make it really big. There we go.
There we go.
I'm lead producer of Panda Global.
Let's go.
How are you?
All right, so
yeah.
I think that looks great. I think that's the easy group to call. I don't think this is a group of death either. think it's pretty cleanly going to be Wizrow winning it. And if he did not win it, it would shock me. Like it would actually. That's one of the ones that I think is the most. Of all of the ones I'm looking, actually, I think that is the easiest to call.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, for sure.
let's go over to Group B if we can.
Oh, this is gonna be really brutal looking, but it'll work.
Group B is really interesting, actually, because got Plup, Aklo, Ice, and Shipu. Who does Shipu play?
Shipu is wild, actually.
Yeah, who does he play?
He's a Peach player.
Fox? Okay, yeah, he's the Peach.
Yeah, but I mean, like Shipu, I only know this from my Apex doc, actually. So like Shipu was nuts, like super good back in 2015. And the reason that he was at Apex 2015 was that he beat Amsa, I think, to get in a Battle Gateway to qualify and like get a fly out to Apex. But he was like top 3 Japan easily, like hands down, for many years. And I want to say like they just kind of entered exclusively Japanese tournaments and almost never traveled internationally. So that's really surprising to see a player like him over here.
That is like the power of the event, you know, like obviously Smash World Tour has not been like perfect in every way. You know, there are some notable players missing, but what I think they have really achieved is this global feeling. Like you look at the pools themselves and it feels like, okay, this is an international tournament. And I'm kind of excited to see Ice. I didn't even really know he was playing that much anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that surprised me that he was on there.
With all that being said, where do we see this going? Let's start with Walt's prediction.
I can actually see Aklo beating Plup potentially for the same reasons why I think Zach is good at the matchup against Plup. But I don't know. I mean, like that's also like biased because I love Aklo and you know it's Tri-State and everything. But I feel like it's kind of again like I'm most excited about Shipu and like how he performs against the field internationally, because I feel like this is a real like that is a super dark horse 4th seed for this. And of course, like, you know, having like a missing LCQ player down there really can change a lot, especially if it's like randomly Axe in this pool or something like that, you know what I mean? Then suddenly, but that's the thing that I feel like is weird about the format to me. And when I posed that first question when we started, because it's like a player like Axe wins in last chance qualifiers, let's say, like no one ever puts them as 5th seed, right? In any pool. And like I don't know who else is going to be there for the LCQ, if that is publicly available or not. But that really changes up kind of the dynamic of a pool as a whole. I think it's all round robin, which is good. But even so, it's like you can really like shake up positions a lot when you just suddenly throw like a top 20, top 15 player like that into the mix and then put them as 5th seed in the pool.
All right. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I do agree that like it does kind of throw things off a lot. Let's rotate down. Tyler Swift, Dan, what are you predicting for this one?
I agree. I think Aklo has a chance at Plup. I don't think it's like that. Like I feel like Plup doesn't get upset by people worse than him very often. Yeah. So that's like the only thing. And it's like Aklo's like his brother is Foxy Grandpa, who's like a really good Sheik that doesn't enter anything. So but Aklo and Plup and Foxy play completely differently. Foxy Grandpa just like will just never approach you and will just tech chase you to death. And that's like why I feel like it's why Aklo plays the way he does. It's because his brother just will camp him, and then like if you get hit, you just die. And that's why Aklo is so good at like playing safe and defensive. And Plup plays super different than that, but Aklo definitely has like a really good shot at that since he is like so good against Sheik. I'm not really sure where I'd put Shipu. I think Shipu could definitely beat like Ice or Aklo too. Or actually, not definitely. Like I don't know how good he is. I just think like, you know, like Peach can just like, if you're not ready for Peach as Fox, you can just get run over and just get down smash, dash attack, nair, and you're dead. And that matchup could be like pretty annoying as Fox. So it was like the only like two I really see. Aklo Ice, I feel like Aklo is definitely the favorite for that. But
Right.
Ice could definitely take that. There's a lot of like really good like it's Europe. Like there's just a tons of foxes there.
That makes sense. I think for me, it's kind of a lot of the same. I do wonder if like what form is Ice in right now? Because obviously he has like, a great kind of legacy of being a top player. And if he's kind of getting back into the game and really practicing, I think Peach was a matchup he was pretty good at. I think Fox was a matchup he was like pretty decent at. But it's just sort of hard to say for sure, right? Like he's had some pretty crazy Fox like the SFAT set comes to mind with the, moment. So
Yeah.
I think that it, and then of course, so yeah, Shippu sounds like just, really fun to see how any player where you're not as familiar with them will play. Like I think Sora, and we'll get to him, like was a good example at Summit of like, oh damn, this guy's actually quite good. Like this
Laura's
is
crazy.
Yeah.
yeah. So that is again the most exciting part of this for me is just like, you know, we felt, at least I felt like watching Summit, it was like, we get to see how like some of Europe is like Pipsqueak and Leffen, some of these guys that have really been
Right.
kind of either already established really good or like how will they fare? They seem like they've really improved over quarantine. And it seems like that's all this event is just like putting a bunch of people, up against each other.
Yeah.
With that, let's move to Group C.
Yeah, as I do that, Shippu, according to their record, only has 4 tournaments on record for 2021.
Oh my gosh.
So that's
Yeah, he's big
super
wild card
interesting.
there.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited about this. This group I'm actually casting, and I'm really pumped about this because I have never casted an AMSA set before.
Nice.
And that just makes me really excited and also nervous that I am going to get yelled at because I feel like one of my strengths as a caster is I can explain like really obscure things really well, and people seem to think I know a lot about Peach and like Peach mechanics now, where they're like, "Oh, he said hyperfloat." Like, damn, that's crazy. And but then like I'll just spew a bunch of bullshit on comms and people will just believe it. But AMSA is obviously like I'm so excited to see AMSA play in person.
I love
I think
Amsa.
it'll be crazy.
I think this pool, it's like you look at it and you're like, oh, like Yoshi versus Peach and Falcon, like that's bad. Like, but I don't think Keizu's like strong against Yoshi. I know he lost to Whiskers like twice, and maybe he learned from that. But like Amsa's obviously like a completely different beast, and he has Shipu in his region, so it's not
Mhm.
like he has any lack of Peach experience. So I don't think I could really see Keizu beating Amsa unless Keizu just goes like completely crazy.
Mhm.
I think Gatsu would have a better shot against Amsa personally, but yeah, I think Amsa takes that pretty cleanly. I think Gatsu might give him a little bit of trouble, but other than that, like Gatsu Keizu could just go either way. Like Peach Falcon, I'm just gonna give it to like Gatsu maybe a bit just because Falcon, like that matchup is hard for Peach. But I also think Far could do some stuff. Like I don't think he'll have a good shot versus Amsa, but like Keizu and Gatsu, I feel like he might be able to do some stuff against like it's Sheik against Falcon and Peach.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Keizu and AMSA have never played before, which is really exciting. I don't think Far's played any of these people before. And then Gatsu and Keizu are rather back and forth, so that lines up pretty well. I think Keizu won the last time they played, which was the second time they played in the year, but they were online events, so I don't know like how LAN factors into the mix, anything like that. But yeah, I guess for me, like the big question is, and it was kind of answered at Summit, right, with how well AMSA did days 1 and 2. But is like, does AMSA still have a Falcon problem? And if so, then I think Gatsu is kind of like the red flag in that group for him. Um, I don't know.
I think what also sticks out to me is so Amsa, clear top 10 player in the world, I would say. Very, very, very capable, very, very good. But both Kalamazoo and Gatsu strike me as guys who like their peaks are really quite high. Like
Yeah.
we saw from both of them, like kind of very good performances during the SCL kind of online era. And like it seems like they kind of have this maybe not capable of like beating anyone kind of level yet, but it's sort of like I could see someone getting upset by them because they just seem to be like really good at times. You know, like Gatsu was like looking crazy for a while, and same with Keizu. Like it's weird that their names both end kind of in a similar way, but yeah, they're I don't know. That's the hardest for me to call. I think like even the second versus third, they feel really close.
Yeah, I can tell you, just pulling up their head-to-head. KZ won at Rollback Rumble, which was most recent, but that was still 5 months ago. And Gatsu won at FPS4. And then the last time they played before that was in 2019 at Genesis 6. So
Okay,
it's been like a while since they've had a LAN set before, but I do agree. And I said this about Gatsu in a video about Plup Showdown when that happened. It might have been Plup Showdown or it might have been an SCL recap, but I feel like, the thing about Gatsu is that people kind of put him on the perimeter of like the Falcons, and to me I'm kind of like there are 4 big Falcons now, right? It's like Wizrobe is doing far and away the best right now and has been the most visible, I think, and SGJ and None are great, but like Gatsu is very clearly in that mix with them, at least in my opinion. I don't know.
4 horsemen, man. Like
Yeah.
the 4 horsemen of Falcon. They're coming for the Falcon apocalypse. The days of spacey dominance are over. And I mean,
Yeah.
Marth dominance has been around for a long time, but I think they're bringing in a new era, and yeah. All right, let's move on to Group D. This is another group that I think is quite top heavy. I feel like Fiction is a kind of big question mark to some degree. Obviously, he has been entering things. It's not like an Amsa or something where you kind of haven't really seen him before Summit for a while. But even still, like, this is a guy that was like top 10 in like 2019, and I don't know, like, is there a world where we see Fiction over HBox?
As Falco, I don't know.
I don't know how good he is against Puff with Falco. That matchup's a lot harder than Fox Puff. Fox Puff's pretty easy, and I don't even think he was that great at it with Fox. Like, from my memory, I could be wrong, but I could just see that being like a 45-minute like 3-1 in HBox's favor. Yeah, I think they're obviously like the 2 clear top 2 for that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really see Nikki or Sock beating HBox or Fiction. Maybe Fiction with Nikki, but like I'm not sure. Sock is a bit of a question mark. Nikki's also a bit of a question mark, but it's definitely like HBox Fiction.
This feels kind of like a dream bracket or pool for HBox. He just gets 3 spaces and then a mystery player. Like,
I think this is definitely a really good pool for HBox.
Yeah, I mean, like, Sock's great though. Like, Sock I think is ranked 2 in Australia, and then Nikki's
Sock's really good. Yeah, I saw him at
Germany.
I saw Sock play a bit at Summit.
Do we think that HBox's era of like shakiness is behind him, or do we still think HBox? Because there's a difference between HBox loses to someone like Aklo, who I think like is actually just a really, really good player, and yeah, it was online, but like even if that happened offline, it wouldn't be like whoa. But if he lost to say like Nikki, great, European Fox player, someone who I actually am really excited to see how he does, but that would still be like, damn, man, you're losing to Nikki? Like that seems like a huge gap. So do we think he's on better footing now, or is it still possible for him to kind of Harry Potter on us?
I think LAN HBox is a completely different beast. Like, I went to play him, and it was intimidating. Hey, he was just like, he was looking at the screen. He's like, Tyler, against you? Let's not go Battlefield. Let's strike. I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh. And then we start the set, and he does his like scooch back, and he's just leaning in. I was like, this is just, that alone is just the scariest thing I've ever seen. And he just went off. He feeds off of like the in-person stuff. So like, I think his online shakiness is like definitely like 90% cleaned up, but like he's definitely a lot better offline, and it's like a mental thing. I think with him, he kind of feeds off of like the energy from the whole crowd in the room and everything.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
That
I
impression
don't
was
know,
so
man.
good.
I feel that was really good. We should definitely clip that. Does YouTube have clip features now? They do, don't they?
He
They
like
do-
hit me with
they
an
do
up
have
throw
it.
rest, and he like grunted, and I was like, oh
I was
god.
about to ask
That's
about
the Zane
grunting,
thing.
but I'm
Yes.
like, okay, can you like, so like he up to rest, so like, can you do the sound? Like, what would it be
I was
like?
like, I was like, oh god. Cody grunted a couple times too, and I was like, oh shit, like these guys are really going all in on me.
Wait, okay, yeah. Without tangenting too much on it, like, was that like super jarring for you to go from, I think, like performing super duper well at a lot of online events into these now like in-person events where like Summit 11 was the case in point of like everyone kind of wrote HBox off specifically because they were like, oh well, he's performing like shit online, regardless of if he has 13 frames of audio lag or whatever that's going on. But then he shows that it's like, yeah, playing in person and playing online are two very different beasts.
I think that I feel like HBox will be like fine. What was the question again?
I guess like you're like anecdotally, like what's your experience between
Oh,
like
yeah,
online
yeah.
and in person now? Because it seems like it was really different, and I don't know, was it a struggle for you or?
Definitely. Like, I just have like I need to enter more tournaments. That's like always been my thing. Like during the pandemic, I had just like mental health problems. I didn't want to enter. And then now it's just like school, and like I'm just like I can't, like I had to drop out of like Smash Con, which was like 30 minutes away from me just because I had like exams that I had to study for and stuff. So like I literally just couldn't do like nearly as much as I wanted to. So it's definitely like a lot more comfortable just being in your room and play.
Mm-hmm.
But then being in Summit in that like tiny dark room with like one other top player, like that's scary.
Who's
Like,
grunting too? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I am in this room with a caveman, and only one of us is leaving.
Yeah.
Like,
And I was just like, and that's another reason why I was like pretty happy with how I did, even though I didn't like take many sets. It's like they've been in that situation so many more times than I have. And it's so hard because it's like you're like last stock game 5 with Mango, and it's just like he's done it so many times, and like I'm just like,
mm-hmm.
like it's so much more. It's such an experience thing, and that's actually what I talked to after my Mango set. I was talking to Zane a bit, and then like he was just talking to, like Cody and Leffen, so I was asking Zane for advice because I asked him for advice a lot, and they're all just like, yeah, like it's just an experience thing. Like you just have to put yourself in that scenario more, and that's actually why I think I like struggle, or not struggle. Like I've lost like a lot of game 5s recently, and it's just to players that have just entered a lot more and have been in that like high pressure scenario, which is actually like when I played Leffen, I got 4 stock that game 5, and afterwards he goes, "I'm sorry I had to do that to you." But I remember our conversation about how you get nervous in game 5, so I just went all in on that. And I was just like, that's fair.
Jeez.
But yeah, it's like a big, it was such a big jump. It's so different. It's like, I've been working on it, and it's just, you just gotta be there more. You just have to put yourself out there more. And it's like, it's different than like a weekly where you could just like go every week and it's like whatever. But like, this is like Summit, and that's like a deal.
For sure, yeah.
Being in that position, that's gold.
Gotcha. Let's move on to Group E.
This pool is interesting because I think Zamu could just win it. Because every time I hear any Fox play Zamu, they just get mad because Zamu's literally like a wobbler in the Fox Ditto. He just hits you once and you just die. Like I watch so many people play against Zamu and they just get pissed like, this guy just hits me once and I just die. He just has crack as fuck like reactions and he'll just kill you off one hit. So like I think he could definitely like take the pool. Like him, Professor Pro, I could see going either way. SFAT will obviously be a lot harder, but like Zamu could definitely go off in that pool. And Ingen is he's the Marth from Pan, who he's a Slippy kid too, so he hasn't even been playing that long. He started with Slippy,
dude.
So that's crazy that he's even here.
Super good. I mean, so we talked about Shippu. So Shippu got 5th at the East Asia qualifier. Ingen got 3rd. He lost to Amsa and Deft. So I'm pretty excited about that. just overall. I think the fact that like the top 3 in this pool are foxes is kind of crazy to me, in that like I said, like I think I'm kind of with Tyler in that I feel like Zamu's kind of a sleeper pick, especially at third. SFAT Prof is kind of weird because I don't think Prof's ever beaten SFAT historically.
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
I could see Zamu beating SFAT before Prof.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Zamu's got like cracked reactions. At least it seems like his up throw nairs, tech chases, and the Fox Ditto are like very, very different from what a lot of other people do. It seems, and just kind of how he approaches stuff.
Punish is just that nasty, honestly.
Yeah, makes sense. I think SFAT Zamu moving on seems believable to me. I don't know, like Professor Pro I haven't heard that much about, and it feels like he has less presence in Europe than he once did. That's also possibly like, you know, people like Pipsqueak and stuff are getting a lot better. So I don't know. Next group, I guess. Let's do group F. This one,
I'm
this
so
looks
excited
like a pretty...
for this group. Holy shit!
Yeah,
this might be the death group. I'm looking at. Hang on. Actually, these last 3 could be like really close with a lot of the players, I think. But I will always champion Laud as first seed, even if Kodoran's like the hottest shit ever. It's like, no, man, put Laud first.
I think J-Cam is the biggest sleeper. That guy's really good. He could low-key just win it. I think he's capable of beating anyone in his pool, for sure. I have no clue how good Ja Raiden is, but he also plays Luigi. And I'm a mid-tier believer, but Luigi's also Luigi. Luigi Marth, Luigi Sheik, Luigi Peach, those are not good matchups. So that can be really difficult for him. But Kodoran Laud, I could give that to Laud, since Laud brothers with Rishi, it's like his best matchup probably, I'm saying. But I also don't know how much work he's been putting into the game. He's like in med school and stuff. But
he's a doctor now, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he's a doctor now?
I think he was close to being done with it, so.
How much time do you really have to play Melee when you're a doctor? It's like crazy. But
Prince 2, I guess, right?
I think J-Cam is like the biggest sleeper. That guy is like so friendly. He's like so friendly. He asked me to play. I asked him to play a few times too, and the connection just wouldn't work. But otherwise, I would just love to play him more because he's a really, really good player.
Yeah, I think for
Sheik.
Yeah. The J.
I just get I don't know, man. Like watching Laud play is so sick, and it's like I don't know if he's still on his thing where he situationally plays with GameCube controller or box, depending on like what he chooses to be good at for that day.
I think he's just on GameCube controller. I think also like him switching between GameCube controller and box for specific matchups is like that's just
it wasn't even that too.
Do.
It was like he would tell me that he was like I can't like wave dash when I play on box, like just simple things where like he was really good at doing some things on box where he wasn't good at it on. It was the weirdest thing when he told me about it.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, no shots to Peach players, but Peach players are not used to practicing deck skill. Whereas like Fox mains are just, oh yeah, I'll just boot up Uncle Punch and grind it for 6 hours straight, which is what I did with my box. But like a lot, obviously, like in med school at the time, like he didn't really want to just like learn a whole new controller, you know. But I think Peach busted on the box. Like she's just the most like.
Oh yeah.
I think she's the most like buffed character by the box. The float cancel stuff, and you have 1.0 cardinals for your floats. It's just insane.
He wrote me like a 10-message essay because I was like, tell me why box Peach is better so I can like explain this, and he was like, all right.
I love when top players do that. When they're like,
that's
okay,
very...
if you have time, hear me out, and then they just write like like
yeah.
That's very Laud-esque.
I think like looking obviously like by the numbers, yes, Kodoran is easily the first seed here for this, but I just think of like the way that some of these sets, particularly versus Kalamazoo, went with KZ 3-0'd him at SCL, And then it was game 5 at the West Regional Finals. I don't think I casted that set, but I remember watching it, and it was very, very close throughout the entire set. Um, the only thing about Lod that's like always so interesting to me is that he doesn't play Peach like any other Peach. That's why it's so cool for me to watch him, because he plays it so grounded, and I don't know if that's gonna give like a first seed like Kadoran some struggle going into it. And this is just a straight up like brutal pool for a Luigi player. You have a Peach, a Marth, and a Sheik. Like, you got no foxes. You got like no space animals, man. That sucks.
Also, another thing to note about Kadoran is he also lost to Wally when he came to the nightclub. So I'm not sure if Peach is like a weaker matchup for him, but he did lose to Wally, who's like another person to look out for as like one of the last chance qualifier people.
You were saying, Raider?
Yeah, I'm a big Kadoran believer.
Yeah.
I think like the thing is though, am I a big like Kadoran today believer? I don't know. Like I think he, like, to me, I look at this, I think he should be first seed. I think he probably will come first in the group, but I don't think he's like kind of unshakable yet. But I do feel like he'll be like firmly top 10, like no question, by next year. Like I think already he has like those top 10 moments, but I think he's got like a ton of potential. So I'm expecting him to do well in this event, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's like an Achilles heel matchup.
The guy works really hard. But he also did just lose to Free Palestine, so JCam is like, I'm pretty sure he's considered better than Free Palestine. So like that could be difficult.
Definitely. Moving on to Group G, I guess.
This one's interesting because you got Polish, Pip, Spark, and I don't know, Chape. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Polish is gonna win the whole tournament.
Anyone know who he plays?
Chape's a Fox player.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
I think
yes.
Everyone at Summit was talking about how good Spark is. Like he's like better than apparently he left. So like I'm curious to see how good he would do. Probably really good still. He won the VIP bracket over like Lucky and Face Roll and stuff. So he's obviously really, really good, and I could see him taking first seed, not surprisingly. Polish is just Polish. That guy is
He'll
really,
like
really
randomly
good.
get fourth, and then no one will be surprised. So
and then he'll just tweet like,
it.
He'll just tweet like, "Man, I'm just so happy one of my friends beat me. I'm so happy for the guy that beat me or something."
That was the funniest thing with East Coast bracket, because he like we kept tweeting like, "Oh, happy throw to Polish weekend! Like everyone's throwing to Polish," and he would finish every set in his group and just be like, Why are these people just losing to me? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like,
it's like too wholesome to even be like. It's not even close to BM. It's just him being like wholesome and humble. But
I think this is the group of death for me in terms of like people that it's really hard to call, and they all seem good, and they're all probably like underseeded relatively. Like, I think the peaks of these three players, Spark especially being third, is like Spark is very good.
I think Spark is really underseeded here.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know. I mean, I agree, but it's like, again, the comparison point that I use for someone like Spark against Peach, for instance, is Kalamazoo again. And KZU's up on him in sets lifetime. I mean, they haven't played in a long time, so obviously like time changes things. But I guess the big thing is for me is going to be like, how does he perform against the non-traditional characters, or like the less high frequency characters that we see out there.
For sure.
I just think all of these guys have a lot of potential as well, and not just potential, but they've had high peaks. Pipsqueak is a guy who I'm very curious to see how he does at this event. I think, he wasn't super happy with how he did at Summit, but I think most people would agree that like he seems like he's a very good player. And I mean, you probably actually have the most experience because you probably played with him. So, I mean, like, I don't believe you guys had any sets together, or did you have one set?
No, we played in pools.
Yeah, you
He
3-2, right?
came.
You won.
No, he won.
He
But
won. He won. He won it. Right. I did
yeah,
watch this. I'm just
I think I played pretty bad that set, but he also did come really prepared for like the matchup. He did surprise me with like some stuff that he was good at, fix stuff that like I wasn't. He would be good at. So he's just a smart player. So like giving him prep for matchups is really good for him, I think. And it's
interesting.
like he's from Europe, so he's played Triff a lot. So that's something that Polish got to watch out for.
That's a great. Those are both great points, actually. That Polish not gonna be a matchup he's uncomfortable in, and then also if he is a player that kind of preps, then that makes sense. I feel like on the flip side, Polish strikes me as the kind of guy that's like, oh right, I'm playing Smash World Tour, gotta go play well, I guess. So, which is crazy.
Yeah, I said he'll top 8, and like everyone, like the general like average Smash watcher will be like, this doesn't make any sense, and then like the Chad like Smash enjoyers will be like, this makes complete sense.
Like, fucking Westfall tweeted being like, who is Polish? And I was like, god damn it, Westfall. Like, fucking keep up. Like
Gar at Summit moment.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But that I think is the hardest group to call for me. And then finally we have Group H, the last group. Worth mentioning kind of throughout this, and this comes up with Ben here, but originally that was supposed to be Zane. He had to drop out. Zamu was originally IDW. He had to drop out due to hand pain. Zane, I believe, dropped out because of COVID stuff. I'm not positive.
So yeah, his sister had another baby, so he's gonna have like small kids around during Christmas time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that makes sense. And then yeah, there are a couple other ones like S2J was Aura was originally going to be S2J, etc.
Leffen was going to be there too, I think, right?
Leffen, yeah, was replaced by Spock. That would have been the group of death. Hungry Box Fiction Leffen.
That would have been
fucking
brutal.
insane.
Yeah.
Well, did they reseed it after, or did they keep the same pools?
Yeah,
they must have.
Sure.
There's no way you make a Hungry Box Fiction Leffen group. That's just like that's one of the TOs is just like colluding on something, man. Like they're just like, I don't care. We're gonna have a crazy bracket. So,
but the person I'm looking forward to seeing the most is Sora, just because obviously we haven't seen much of him, and he's really, really good. But like, he proved himself against like Spaceys mostly, and like he's good against Marth too. But like, I asked him, I was like, "What kind of characters you have?" Because like it's all Falcos and like a few Marths and like Foxes. So like, I don't know how good he'd be against like Sheik and Peach, and those are like big question marks. So like, I'm curious to see what he's gonna come up with for that. And he's got a good mental. Like, I feel like he was obviously nervous, like how the rest of us were at Summit, especially me, because I was like, me and him were the only, or in Free Palestine, were like the only people who have like just never been to Summit before. And like Noel's been as a VIP a bunch of times, pretty sure. And Magi's been there before. So like, I'm curious to see how Sora would do. Ben could be. I don't know, like Sora, Ben. I just don't know how good Sora is against Sheik, and I think Ben is like good. He's just a good Sheik, and it's like he's like kind of like a barrier. I feel he's like kind of like a gatekeeper, where it's like
that makes sense.
He plays like really standard Sheik. You know, he plays neutral Sheik, and his tag is Ben. It's just like very like standard, and it's like, are you good against Sheik? Are you good against a Sheik that will spam back air and like tech chase you? And it's like that's a big question mark for me. And Face Roll is obviously like a lot better than Ben too, so like I'd be really surprised to see Sora beat Face Roll, and like I just have no idea how good he is versus Peach. And Peach Fox is like not a matchup that you want to go into without much experience in it, especially
I
against
feel like
Triff.
Sora would rather go Marth in that matchup, right?
Or plays Marth?
Doesn't he play both?
No, there's a different Sora from New England that plays Marth.
Oh, am I stupid? I thought did he play Fox the entire
yeah, he only played Fox.
He just plays Fox.
Okay. Wait. Oh, he played Sheik and Marth at like a random local then. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I just gaslit myself into thinking he was a dual main.
But I would be really surprised if Ben beat Face Roll or Triff. I'm pretty sure there's like struggle matchups for him.
Okay.
I'm curious to see how Face Roll does. He's another guy that like there was a week where he was just like insanely good, and then he
Yeah.
disappeared into the night. You know, like so. Want to see how he does, but I'm excited. And that's starting tomorrow then, Walt, or is it Saturday?
Yes, it starts tomorrow. I think the groups are split up because there's 5 people in each group, so it'll be like half of every group tomorrow, and then the remaining on Saturday. In terms of like my casting, I think that's all I'm doing. I'm just doing Friday, Saturday, and then I'm going home Sunday. But it should be a fun time. I think again, like the fact that there's just a mystery 5th person in this pool completely just shit on any type of organization that might have happened.
Sure.
And it depends on like how they slot in people. Like I don't know if it's just like first gets into group A and so on. But like I'm assuming they'll probably like pick and choose based on what seems to make sense, but even so, that's going to be a lot.
The tweets are coming, Walt. Someone is gonna pull out their phone and be like,
yeah,
what seating, man? What the hell? Like playing blank, blank, blank in my bracket.
Yeah, it's like some demonic fuck is gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna put Axe in the group with Amsa because like that makes sense. Like,
I think Pikachu beats Yoshi. I didn't think that until Summit. And I was like, I've only been playing Fox against Yoshi because it's like this matchup. I thought Yoshi just destroyed Pikachu for a while.
mm-hmm.
And I was just playing Amsa, and I was like, I am getting 0 to death every time I do anything. And so I was like, let me not get 0 to death. Sir, play Pikachu. And then I was just like winning like a little more than half of the friendlies. And I was just like, I even asked him, I was like, what do you think of this matchup? Because I was like, okay, Axe just wins just because he has Vector Man practice. And I was like, Amsa, what do you think of the matchup? And he just goes, I don't know. so we're both just like, yeah, we don't know how this matchup
just 2
works,
people that have
like,
no idea what they're doing. Like,
yeah, like two of the best people with their characters, just like, yeah, we have no idea what's going on.
Jeez, that's
so, like,
so funny.
Yeah, that's actually hilarious too. Yeah. I don't know.
It's definitely one I want to like, because I have Yoshi experience a lot. Like I play Mono a lot. I've played other Yoshis too, and like it's a really weird matchup because it's like a bunch of like 2-hit, like 3-hit combos, and it's like, oh, Pikachu doesn't rack up percent, and you have to kill with up smash. And in most matchups where it's like, oh, Peach and like Puff, it's like, yeah, land an up smash on Peach and Puff, good luck. But Yoshi, it's like the way he approaches you is he kind of like goes downwards and like into you, you know? And like getting up smash at a shield on Yoshi is like really easy, and like dash dance up smashing Yoshi is like pretty easy, and you're kind of tiny too. And you do have some stuff like forward air is like really weirdly, it's like forward air is the best against Yoshi, like by far in any other matchup, because it like deals with his like double jump armor stuff really well. And Pikachu's like up air hitbox, like the one that pops up, breaks Yoshi armor at 32. So like he has a lot of really weird things. It's like it's just a really unexplored matchup. So it's like Axe obviously knows it a lot better than Amsa, but like I'm still unsure. It's still like pretty close to even, I'd say, but like I have no idea how to figure that one out.
Do we want to have a little mini discussion on I know you had a point here, Radar, with like just the idea of character viability, because you kind of just talked about the 2 that we wanted to bring up, which were Pikachu, of course, for you, and then Yoshi for the Amsas of the world.
Yeah, like I think the main thing that I'm kind of curious about is like, you know, what do we think? Like it seemed like while watching Summit that Yoshi, like that Amsa might win Summit, which sounds like, you know, a while ago would have been like, yeah, Yoshi is never winning any kind of major event, but it was like, oh my God, maybe we're wrong. And then obviously we both think you have a lot of potential as a player, and you showed like a pretty solid performance in quite a few matchups, and that's not entirely solo Pikachu, but still like pushing a different style, showing that there's kind of room to learn in matchups like Yoshi. So I guess I'm curious, like, where do you kind of like, do you see those characters, maybe other characters kind of going up in value? And also to Walt afterwards as well. I'm curious.
So I actually know a lot about Yoshi, especially compared to most people, and I've like thought about this a lot. So I think the thing with Yoshi in particular is that he just has so much like tech and so much stuff to him that there's like a lot of innovation to be done. Whereas Pikachu, not as much, but there's still a lot of innovation. You know, it's like these are super unexplored characters, and it's like, you know, it's like you have your KJHs, your Leffins, like the people just labbing everything for Fox, and it's just like, oh, I don't know a matchup. Let me watch like 6 other Fox play it. But then if you play like Pikachu, you're just like, oh, let me see what Axe does, and then it's just like only the Axe style ever gets replicated. So I feel like I was like one of the, well, like the only other person who like took it upon themselves to like really try and like push Pikachu in particular, and especially with Pikachu, is it's like a lot of the players who would be attracted to playing Pikachu and Yoshi are more so like, don't take the game as seriously, because it's like if you take the game super seriously, you're probably gonna pick a top tier, especially with Pikachu, because it's like you get a lot of the same stuff with Pikachu that you get with Fox. So like if you're gonna take the game seriously and you want to play a character kind of like the Pikachu archetype, you could just play Fox. So like that's why I feel like a lot of Pikachus aren't like. That's why I feel like there aren't a lot of like top level Pikachu mains, is because like people would just rather play different characters. Another thing to note is it's like I think Pikachu is like not a viable solo main, because
I was just gonna ask, does Axe need to switch? Does he need a secondary? Like,
yes. Yes, I think so. It's like Puff is too bad. Like it's such an, and then it's like not. It's like she just actually just has to do nothing. Like that's literally how she wins the matchup, is by doing nothing. Like she just jumps on platforms, and how are you gonna kill her then? It's like if she lands on the stage, maybe you can get an up smash, but like she lands on platforms, you're gonna land on the platform and then up smash. You know, you're a lot slower than Fox. Your up smash isn't as big. It's a lot harder to get that stuff, and you don't have a projectile that's like good in that matchup. You have Thunder Jolt, but like literally her back air beats Thunder Jolt and it's low, so you can go around it.
Yeah,
so
I think
that
about
matchup
how
is just
hard he worked in that Genesis 6 set.
Yeah,
where it was
and then
like,
how
yeah,
little HBox worked.
It was like every single interaction is like so fucking challenging at that point.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Like literally just drift back air. It's like, okay, I can't beat that. It's like I put like a lot of work into this matchup. Like not recently, obviously. This is like the first matchup that made me pick up Fox. Like that matchup is just not good at all. I think that's just not worth. That's the biggest one that's not worth playing, in my opinion. After that, I'd say it's like Ices is also really bad. They could just camp you, and you can't really separate them unless they give you. If they just don't give you anything, and they just Blizzard and like Ice Block camp you with that desync stuff, you just like this do. So that one you definitely need a secondary, and Axe has already went secondaries for that. Peach is a weird one where it's like Peach is just like a brutal one, because it's like you can win neutral, and I think there's a lot of more development in that one, and Ices too. I think there's a lot more development that can go in those matchups, but like it's just not worth it at the end of the day. Like I think like it's just really bad. It's definitely doable, but it's just super bad, and it's like you just have to straight up like outplay them the entire. You just have to be like, I'm the better player. I've played this matchup for hours on end. You've never played this matchup, and I have to outplay you really hard. Like it's all of them. And then if you like, say you get like a piece that you've grinded with a lot, then it's just like, all right, like this is just brutal. And honestly, like same thing goes for Sheik. Not as bad, I don't think, as Peach, but like it's still really brutal. Like you just get neutral's really bad. You don't really have any like big openers that are easy to get, because it's like she just throws needles at you. She just like chain grabs you. Her punish game is like dumb easy, and like your punish game against Sheik is it's like you see like Axe do all these like crazy like combos on Sheik, and I'm just like, oh my god, oh that Sheik just doesn't know how to DI. Like Pikachu's punish on Sheik is really good if the Sheik doesn't know what they're doing. If Sheik knows what they're doing, then it's like mediocre. Because you can't really like, if she just like DIs everything like straight up, and you don't give him like the I DI your way, like I nair you. If you don't give him that, like he doesn't have like anything really. Like I play Juicebox a lot. He's like a really close friend of mine. He's MDVA Sheik, and it's just miserable. Like I just can't. Like he just back airs. Like Sheik with her back turned to Pikachu is just like so bad, so bad. You have nothing to beat back air. You have to just get a hard like mix. You just have to win a mix-up after like shielding the back air or like spacing around it, and that's just like a lot to ask. And even if you win the mix-up, what do you get? Like down tilt or like a nair or like up throw nair or something. Whereas Sheik, if she wins the mix-up, she gets a chain grab, and that's like half your stock. You know?
This is like how I feel about every matchup in the game, by the way. As a Mario, like you were just like, yeah, Puff's really bad because your projectile is not good. I'm like, same. And then you're like, and you have to like overcommit to stuff. I'm like, yeah, true. Like I have to just randomly up smash or forward smash and get a kill.
Like if Puff Puff rests you once and you lose the lead, it's like
Mario does get cape on missed rest though, which I do like. At least I get a quick 40 before I fully charge a smash attack, and that's about it. So,
yeah.
I think it's interesting though, like when it comes to Axe as a player, like if you're of the opinion that you think he needs a secondary, it's like the characters that he most frequently plays that aren't Pikachu aren't like necessarily better against the quote unquote struggle matchups that you say he has too, right? Yeah. It's like mostly Falco and Young Link, right? And like he's played Marth here and there.
Falco's quite a bit better. Like
I think so too, but it's kind of, I'm not saying relative to Pikachu. I'm just saying like
okay, because I was
like relative to the rest of the cast. Yeah. I just mean like against like picking Fox or like something like just a different character in the cast that might be like more like better suited for a matchup like that. Because it's like, I don't know, are you hamstringing yourself by like going secondary Falco because you're better at that matchup against Ice Climbers, let's say, but like then you still have to play Falco Puff, or like you still have to play Falco Peach, which like some people might not like. I don't know.
Yeah, like Peach, Puff, Sheik, Ices are like the four that you really should get a secondary for. Sheik is like iffy. I think Sheik could really be done. I think Sheik and Peach are like, you could do it. You know, it's like not Peach on Dreamland. Peach on Dreamland, that's just your thunder doesn't reach the top and die. But like certain Sheiks, you definitely need to. Like I could be any Sheik that's like, and then it gets to a point where it's like, all right, I gotta switch. You know, like most Sheiks I just do fine against, and I just like either better player or I just know the matchup really well. But then if it's like I gotta play Plup, am I really gonna like up with Pikachu? Like if he's playing well, like that's a tall order, you know? And it's just like, all right, like I have this secondary for Puff already. I might as well use him for Peach and Sheik too. And Sheik I'm a little bit more reluctant just because you could like combo her pretty well if they don't know what they're doing. And even if you do, like your punish isn't that bad, and you're like, if you get like a couple lucky like hits here and there, like it's definitely doable. Like it's still rough. And like, I don't think like Stadium against Sheik. I think Sheik's best stage against Pikachu is like Stadium, just because you die from up air. Like Sheik's up air is so broken in that matchup. It's like she just looks for like down tilt or like F tilt, and you just die to up air on Stadium. And it's like, well, I can't hit her off stage because I just keep nairing her, and she just goes all the way to the other side of the stage. And I run over there, I try and nair her, but then I crossed her up, and now she has stage. So it's just like you just keep trying to ping pong her. And then it's brutal. But other than that, like, every other matchup is, like, more than doable, in my opinion. Like, Spaceys are hard, but, they're Spaceys, they get comboed really hard, they get gimped really hard. And it's, like, having a Fox not give you anything is really annoying, but, like, definitely a lot more doable than the others. I think Axe definitely should, like, get a serious secondary, as opposed to just, like, messing around with, like, a ton of characters. It's, like, it's just not a good use of time, in my opinion, to play like all those characters. It's just like too much. I think he should just play like just settle on one character. I think Fox is easily the best. He's Fox. It's just like how is Fox a bad choice? And it's you could do a lot of similar stuff with Fox and Pikachu. You know, you got your dash dance, you got your nair, you got your up smash, and they have the same jump squat. So that's why I really like that combo. I think Fox Pikachu is like the best dual main with a mid tier in it because they can be played like pretty similarly. Whereas like if you're playing like if you're like a Yoshi main, like Slug does like Icy's Fox, and like his Fox is good, but like it's hard to transfer a lot of it from like Icy to Fox as opposed to where like Pikachu and Fox are a lot more easier to like mix and match. Because there's stuff I do with like once I learn a matchup with Fox, it actually makes me better at it with Pikachu because I just learn a lot about like the game and how the characters work. And it's like, oh wait, I could use my dash dance in a similar way here.
Yeah.
Like after I started learning Fox Sheik, I just like it made my dash dance and like neutral really a lot better with Pikachu.
That's such a like mid tier thing though. I feel like, and it's like me. I play like a shit character, but it's kind of like I look at the game in a way where it's like, oh, I can do like as Mario, like up throw under platform into full hop down air, and that's the same as a drill reset for Fox or something like that. Yeah. But like you just look for things that like high tiers can do and then like apply them back to your character, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
With that, I think we should probably wrap up. You know, we're approaching the 2-hour mark. I know that Walt has like a very early flight tomorrow. And I also got like 3.5 hours of sleep last night. And I think if we kind of hit another topic, it might end up being like a 20-minute tangent or something. So
I went ramble mode with Pikachu there.
No worries.
It's fine. Yeah, that's why we wanted you on.
I think like whenever I make a topic list, I know, and like, you know, Walt can vouch for me that like there's always like it's extras. Like you always throw a bunch of stuff in and then there's going to be a bunch of stuff that comes up naturally. And also, so, you know, I don't feel like, oh man, we didn't even get to blank. Like that's just a topic for another episode. But unless there's something people kind of want to hit, or you know, just before we kind of to wrap it up, anything that comes to mind, Walt? Or
yeah, I have something I want to say before because I know there were a couple people that wanted to do the call-ins, and apologies for that, but we will come up with a better system of doing that like through YouTube as a medium. I know like with Twitch at least there was the command to kind of like figure out how to get into the Discord, all this stuff. But yeah, I do agree. I think we should probably begin to wrap this up. I want to give a special happy birthday to my friend Matt, aka Ventus Official. I think he's in the chat. He was going to be calling in this evening as well. But yeah, that dude is so cool, and you guys should all wish him a happy birthday because he helps me with my channel and makes it good. So yeah, huge love to him. So
he sent me, like when I was working on album stuff and like trying to prepare it, he sent me, you know, we talked about top player walls of text. He sent me like wall text of like, here are promotion ideas, here are like everything. And then he has like, he says, I'm sorry for sending so much. And I'm like, dude, this is like so much work on your end. Like, to give this log list, and then you feel bad about like this log list. So,
yeah. You put him on something, and he'll like dive down the rabbit hole. Like he's great.
He is definitely really appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, let's kind of go around. Tyler, Dan, you know, okay. What's going on with the tag? I think before we go, because you're one of a few people that has like the first name kind of tag, and then we realize that's not your first name. Kind of Bobby Big Ball is probably another notable one. Which today we were talking about Blizzard and like their CEO Bobby Kotick or whatever, and my fiance literally said, "Yeah, he's kind of like a Bobby Small Balls or whatever," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And she's like, "Yeah, it's like a really niche reference, but that guy's name sticks out in my head, man." And I was like,
that.
Yeah. So a little segue there, but yeah, what is the origin of your tag?
So, well, first off, I blame Zane because Zane is like, I want to call you by your real name, and then everyone started calling me Dan in Zane's chat, and then everyone just calls me Dan now. But fuck you, Zane. But there was one day where I was in high school. I did track, and I went to like the state championship meet, and I went to I'm from Long Island, and
wait, what events did you run?
I did like cross country, so like 5K.
Oh, let's go, dude! Distance runners here.
5K and like mile and stuff.
Wait, what school did you go to? I'll ask you off chat. Don't want you doxing. Yeah, wait. What's your address, bro? Like.
But yeah, so on the ride back, it was like a 9-hour bus ride since it was like on the Canadian border, and on the ride back, one of the other teams on the coach bus with us played "You Belong with Me" 68 times in a row, and like we weren't allowed to shower after the meet or anything, so we were like disgusting. The AC on the bus was broken. It was gross.
Oh
But
God.
people were just singing "You Belong with Me." I just thought it was hilarious, and I actually do really like Taylor Swift's like music. I like unironically listen to her. Listen to like Halsey a lot too, Lauren, like Billie Eilish. But yeah, I'm just like, man, it'd be funny if it was Tyler Swift, like Taylor Swift.
That's it.
That was
That's
it, yeah.
literally. You were like, all right, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I remember the moment I thought of it too. I was coming out of the shower. I was like, Tyler Swift. I go.
Literally a shower thought. Like literally walk to the shower.
It was literally a shower thought. Yeah, you're right.
Tyler Swift,
Jesus,
man. I've done
I
it.
love
I've done it.
Now look where I am.
Oh my gosh. Damn.
All
That's
right,
great.
I think that's a good way to cap off the
Yeah,
show.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, of course. Tyler, Dan, and Zane's chat. I don't know. Thank you for joining us tonight, man. This was a lot of fun.
It
You have any?
It was a lot of fun,
closing-
yeah.
Any closing thoughts? Any shout outs? Any thanks you want to give for the people at home?
Shout outs to Yahoos. That guy ran my summit campaign. Shout outs to Pulse. They're my sponsor. Yeah, shout outs to Justice. He came to Summit with me. Shout outs to you guys. You're like two of my favorite commentators. So I'm happy to be on here with you guys.
That means a lot, man. Well, it was great to have you. I want to give a quick shout out to the fact that I released an album.
Yes.
I don't know, a week ago, a little bit more, 10 days ago, actually, exactly. So you guys can check that out on Spotify if you search Radar Press Record. That's the only thing I want to say. And then, of course, yeah, thank you so much, Tyler Swift, for being on as our guest. Always a lot of fun. And, of course, pleasure commentating and doing a podcast with Walt. Walt, closing remarks.
Yeah, no, a lot of fun. You guys should listen to Radar's album. It's super dope. The intro music that you guys hear when you filter in is also written by him. So we were saying that's kind of in need of an upgrade. I'll probably be moving to his new album soon enough for some representation there. But yeah, as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. If you're interested in seeing some more Mixup, again, I say this every time, we'll do it with more frequency. Hopefully we're not super duper busy in the future. But we'll get used to this YouTube thing, figure out kind of like where to have these VODs go and everything like that down the road, and it should be a really fun time. I will be at Smash World Tour tomorrow for commentary. I hope you guys tune into that as well. I'm really excited to do a bit of casting in person. My first block is with Chillin', so I'm really excited for that.
Really fun.
And then final shout outs, because Tyler Swift pointed out the hoodie being really cool. This is available on my merch site. So turndownforwalt.com. Buy some shit and make me feel better about myself. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Again, Tyler Swift, amazing performance at Summit. You really impressed a lot of people, I think, and we're really excited to see what you're able to do next going into 2022 for the competitive Melee year. But with that, we're going to wrap it up here. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been the Mix-Up, and we will see you guys. I don't know. I don't want to put a time limit on this. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot, guys.